For those of you who are just joining on the recording, we're in the middle of reviewing. I forgot to start the recording, but all we've done is review the first half of the alphabet. We've gotten as far as lamed, which lifts up into the air. It's the only letter that lifts up above the line. Mem looks like a mountain with a mountain climber. You see the mountain, you see the climber. See, the mem has a little mountain climber right there. Nun, you can think of a phone number. It looks just like a phone. Or for the young people, it looks like a phone icon. It also looks like somebody nodding their head and holding a prayer book. It's not bent all the way over, just a little nod. Nun has a little nod. Samech is shaped like a circle or the sun. Excuse me. Ayin is like two eyes, like talking with your eyes, it's silent. Pei has a peach pit. You see the peach and the pit. Fei is like a face without a pimple. You don't want a pimple on your face. Sadi has a wedge shape for a pizza. And I think last time I said that's like the steam coming off the pizza. Kof is a crown, like a crown and scepter. Kof like a king or a crown, or maybe a key. I still didn't update that picture. We'll find a better picture of a key. Reish is round. Reish is round on the right. Shin has a dot on the right, so remember that she is always right. Sin, remember that a sin is never right. So the dot is not on the right side. Tav has a toe. It's the only letter with a toe. Now we're going to take a moment to review the Hebrew vowels that we've already learned. All of the Hebrew vowels come in pairs of vowels that have the same sound. Excuse me. Pairs of vowels that have the same sound, but look a little bit different. So for example, kamatz, which looks like an umbrella, or patach, which looks like a candy bar, both say ah. Like, ah, candy bar. Or, ah, it's raining. Chirik, which can be written the same way with or without a yud, does not change the sound. Adding a yud doesn't change the vowel at all. but I picture a little button under the letter that says E, E. Sere, also with or without a yud, is like snake eyes. Segol, segol is like 3 eggs in a nest. Egg in a nest. Cholom, which can be written with or without a vav. The vav does not change the pronunciation. The vav does not act as a consonant, just like the yud does not act as a consonant when it's part of the vowel. Sorry. Both of these make an O sound. Remember, over the top. Vav can be a vowel, can be an O as an over the top, or an U when it's a shuruk. In these cases, the vav is a vowel. It is not a consonant. The shuruk makes the same sound as a kuwutz, which looks like a ghost saying, woo. I also heard someone, I've also heard it taught, it's like falling down the stairs and you go, ooh, 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 ooh. I like mine better. Now let's combine letters and vowels. B, e, be, sh, ah, sha, k, e, ki. And now, Myrta, you're right on time. I don't think she can hear me just yet. And now we're ready for today's lesson. Let's give Myrta, she's logging in. We'll give her a second to connect. Myrta, you're right on time. We just finished our review of all of the letters and vowels we've learned so far. I hope you've been practicing all week. You got a little bit of review last week, right, Myrta? Y'all can hear me, right? Okay. So this week, I'm going to get a refill of my water, sorry. It's just water, unfortunately. Nothing stronger. All right. This week, we are looking, we are meeting for the first time our final letters. So what is a final letter? Here are the examples of them. We're going to go through them one by one. In Hebrew, there are 5 letters that anytime they show up at the end of a word, they're written differently. Call them final letters, or I think linguists have a different name for them, like terminals or something. I don't know. This is a common feature of Semitic languages in particular, particularly in Arabic, which has not only separate endings for 5 letters, but almost all of the letters, if you're learning Arabic, will look different at the end of a word. And they look different if they're at the beginning of a word in Arabic. Luckily, we don't have that in Hebrew. So you see, Hebrew is really a simple language when it comes to having final letters. There are only 5 of them. And there are no beginning letters. There are no middle letters. You only have to learn one form of most of the letters. Anybody study Chinese? Are there different forms of Chinese symbols? Yeah. So here are our 5 letters. Kaf, final kaf. I'm going to call it a final chaf because a kaf and chaf are the same letter, but at the end of the word, it will pretty much always be a chaf. There can be exceptions, but it's almost always going to be a chaf. Mem and final mem. That's the only one that's a little bit tricky. You'll see in a moment. Nun and final nun. Nun sofit. You'll hear me probably slip up and say sofit, which just is the Hebrew word for ending. Sof means end, sofit means, an ending. Fe and final fe. Tzadi, tzadi sofit, final tzadi. We're going to go through these one by one, but you can see how the top of all of these matches up. Let's take a closer look. First, I'm going to change the font of these letters just to make it easier to see what's going on. You see, I didn't change any of the letters. These should all be still readable to you. The fe still looks like a face. The tzadi still holds a pizza. The nun still has a little nod. The mem still looks like a mountain. The kaf is even more curved. Can you see the kaf right now? Okay. It's covered up on my computer, so I'm never sure what you can see and what you can't. I just know that it's there. It's under all of your faces. The kaf is even more curved than it was before. So these are the same letters, just a new font, a simplified. This is Arial font, sans serif, for all of you font nerds out there. Now, we're just going to do a simple transformation. We're going to take whatever's hanging down below the line. We're going to chop it off. And we're going to rotate it up. Oops, I went too far. What is happening with my... Here we go. Okay. So we took all these final letters, we made them look just like their regular form. I know some of them, you got to give me a little bit of credit here. Okay, the pei, it's not a perfect match. The nun is pretty close. The kaf is right. These are pretty close. You see the connection. We're just take that bottom part and we're going to rotate it around. Just rotate it around and you'll have the final form of the letter. The only exception is the mem. The final mem looks like a square. It's the only letter that really looks square. All of the other letters are rounded or open. The final mem is more of a square. I don't have a mnemonic for the final mem. If you can think of something that's square that starts with the letter M, with the M sound, let me know. Call me up at 2 a.m. Say, Rabbi, I've got it. Well, these days I'll probably be awake, so go ahead. Now let's take a moment. Any questions about final letters? Just like regular letters, but they show up at the end of a word. So whenever you have, let me go back here. Whenever you have a cough and it happens to be at the end of a word, it will always be the final chaf. Whenever you have a final chaf, it will always be at the end of a word. They're 100%. The Venn diagram is like this. It's 100% overlap. You never have a, can I say this? In Hebrew, you never have, why do I have to specify in Hebrew? Because in Yiddish you can. Yiddish uses Hebrew letters, and occasionally you'll have odd things. But in Hebrew, you will never have a final chaf, final mem, final nun, final fe, final tzadi, anywhere other than at the end of a word. And you will never have a kaf, mem, nun, pe, or tzadi at the end of a word that's not its final form. It's 100% guaranteed. You can set your watch to it. I don't know how you would do that, but it's that accurate. All right. Not to be confused, these look-alike letters. Some of the final letters look like other Hebrew letters, like the final chaf, which looks a bit like a dalid. If you saw it standing on its own and there was no line and no other letters around, they might look very similar. But the chaf, because it's a final letter, all of the final letters except for the mem hang down. Remember, because we grabbed the bottom of the letter, we turned it like this and we pulled it down. What's the only letter that's not a final letter? Here's a fun quiz, not from the book. What's the only letter that's not a final letter that falls below the line? I'll give you a minute to ponder that. It's not on the screen, it's not in the book, but it is a letter that you know. What's the only letter other than a final letter that falls below the line?
A lamed?
You're close. Lamed is the only letter that goes above the line.
Oh, okay. No.
The lamed is taller, but it's taller in the wrong direction. The lamed lifts up.
Right.
The kuf.
The kuf, very good. The kuf is the only letter not at the end of a word that falls below the line. So if you see a letter and it's too long, it's at the end of the word and it's not a kuf, got to be a final letter. So easy. Who said Hebrew was hard? Let me go back here. Other lookalike letters, other than the chaf and the dalid, the mem and the samech can sometimes look the same. Remember that samech is a circle and mem is a I don't know. Did anybody come up with something that's square? Starts with an M.
A square of milk chocolate. I don't know.
A square of like a milk chocolate. Okay. It's a start. It's a start.
It's a chocolate box of milk. You know, the milk chocolate box that they give you at the school. You know, something.
Yeah, where it's I'm with you. Milk
milk-
chocolate or like the Hershey's milk chocolate bar. Square, a little square. Yeah, I'm with you.
I see a metro going through a tunnel.
But Metro is not square. They're like very aerodynamic.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
All right. We'll work on that. That'll be everybody's homework, including me. If we can come up with something square that starts with a M, then we'll know how to remember the mem. And if not, you can at least remember this ridiculous conversation with the rabbi that will stick in your memory, hopefully for years to come, and bring a smile to your face. So Samech is a circle like the sun, even though at the top they might have this sort of a serif. It's not really a serif. It's something else, but it's sort of like that. Even though they have this little thing at the bottom, the samech is round. It's shaped like a circle. Also, the nun and the vav. And in fact, depending on the font here, in this particular font, the top of the nun and the top of the vav look a little bit different. Sort of like the kaf is a little bit rounded here and the dalet is a little bit more pointy in the corner. But it doesn't have to be. There are other fonts where the top of the dalid and the top of the chaf are truly identical. Same for the vav and the final nun. In this font, the final nun, you can see, has a little bit of a wiggle. It's not straight line down. But if you saw this on its own, you wouldn't know it was a final nun because it could have been a vav, except that it hangs down below the line. All right, now we get to practice. We're going to go in the order that I see you on my screen. Ingrid, you're going to have line 1.
So that is cod,
Good. Keep going.
kach. Is that a ch at the end, right? Kach,
That was perfect. Kach.
kach, and
I'll stop you if you're wrong. Don't worry about
okay. Sorry. Okay.
that.
Sod,
Good.
soch, aim, ace, bis, beam.
Very good. Jackie, you've got line 2.
You did great, Ingrid.
Yeah, that was wonderful.
You did great. Yes. Okay. Oh, I'm scared. I'm starting getting confused. That's okay, here we go. That's okay. Bon.
Good.
Okay. And then there's both.
One more time. I sorry, I didn't hear you.
Is that bo?
Bo, good.
Okay.
I genuinely didn't hear you. That's not a figure of
Okay.
speech.
No,
That's not like a I'll let you know if it's wrong.
Okay. Ba. What's that letter? Is that noon? Oh, it's not a noon. It's
This letter right here is
Yes.
definitely a nun.
oh, it's a noon. Okay, good, good, good. Okay. Bano. Bano.
This would be O.
Oh,
Over.
Banu.
Through. Good. Banu.
Banu. Okay. And then we have Banu. Banu.
Good. Banun.
Okay. And then we have Kaf.
Good.
And then we have, I know it, some people might find it silly when you say that, there's the mountain and all that, but it really helps me to remember the letters. Okay, so that's going to be, ooh, meat
Good. Meets.
and trying to figure out if it's a Bob. No, I mean a Dalit or the H sound. Let me see. What's it? Okay, so it's gonna be Adam.
Good. And if we were looking for a H sound,
Mhm.
what shape would we look for?
It's like the Dalit, but it's longer in the bottom.
It's longer and only at the end of a word.
Oh, okay.
You
Oh,
can't have a final letter
Yes,
in
yes.
the middle of a word.
Yes.
So
yes,
this
yes.
makes a H, but it
Uh-huh.
only ever shows up at the end of a word.
Uh-huh.
That's the only place it is. So if you're looking and you see this in the middle of a word, something bad, something horrible has happened. Run the other way. Don't
Okay.
try to read it.
Okay.
It means something fishy is going on if you see this in the middle of a word.
Chris is there. I just think he's having
If
issues with
you-
the camera.
Oh, okay.
Just letting you know.
We'll call on him in a
Okay.
minute. In the middle of a word, what would that letter look like? If this same letter showed up in the middle of the word?
The ha, the
Yeah,
Like the
yeah,
backwards.
just
that
like
one.
a regular
Mhm.
cough. Well, this
Yeah.
is a cough because it's at the beginning of the word. It's usually a cough, but it could be a cough if we took the dot away. The same thing goes for the final cough. If we just grabbed this bottom part and cranked it up a little bit, it would go back to being its original shape. There's a theory that I read recently. Nobody I don't think really knows how these particular shapes evolved. The final forms. One theory is that that this is actually the original form, and over time, as people were writing, how the end of a letter will sometimes point up towards the beginning of the next word. That's what happened with all of these descenders. That's what they call them. They're ascenders and descenders, right? That they slowly, people started curving them forward, that really they did grab them and bend them forward little by little, and so they ended up having these new shapes. That's one theory, that this is not even the original form, that's the original form. It could be the other way, even though we think of this as the original form. All right, Chris, you're up with line 1. Tell me which words sound alike in line 1.
We've got Marom, Modim, Manos,
Good.
Modim. So the second one, Modim, and this Modim, and then the last one is Shalom.
Good.
We just have the two that match up.
Good.
And
You've got
a fourth one.
Modim with a yud and Modim with the vav. Same word. All right. Mirtha, are you with us? Mirtha, I can see that you're in the room, but I can't see your face and I can't hear you. You're on mute and your camera is off. So I'm not sure if you're able to see us. If you're able to unmute or get your camera on, just let us know. But for now, we're going to go back to Ingrid. Line 2.
For some reason, these are difficult for me, the ones that sound alike, but we'll try.
Then it's a good exercise.
Yes.
If it's too easy, it's no fun.
So it is notave or not notame.
Good. That's
Notame.
too tall to be a vav. It's got to be a final nun because it drops
Notame.
below the line there. Notain.
Okay, and then it's go'el.
Good. Perfect.
Gefech. No, gefen.
Good.
Gefen.
Still just a little nod, even if it's a final
Right,
nod. It's just a little nod. It's not bent
Gefen.
all the way over like a final.
I
Is
see
there no
that.
there's no final half on this page,
No, I see.
but you get the idea.
Gonech. Gonech.
Look at the base on the bottom of this letter.
All right, it's a V, then it's a gonave.
Good.
Gonave.
I try to trip you up there. The key about the shape goes with the bet, but you still have to translate it into from a bet to a vet. Good. Because there's
Can
no
you hear
ball,
me
there's
now?
a void. Mirtha,
there's
now we
Mirtha.
can hear you.
Okay,
You'll have line 3 when we get there.
okay.
Gonave. So nothing sounds alike so far, right? Because then I forget. I get so.
Yeah, I
Up and
didn't
away.
see any. I didn't see any that sound the same.
All right. So, all right, let's continue. Let's see. Go fail.
There's no gap.
No, I mean,
The
that's
gimel has a gap.
Why is that confusing? That it's no fail.
Good.
No
It
fail.
is confusing. That was one of our cards earlier was this letter next to this letter saying they look the same,
Right.
but the gimel has a
Okay.
gap. It's one of our lookalike letters. I think
Okay.
you said no fail before
No
I
fail.
cut you off.
Yes, no
And
fail.
the last one?
That is a G, so it's go nave. So is that the one that sounds the same?
There you go. Gonev and
Gonev.
gonev.
Okay.
Excellent. Excellent.
So that is a vav then at the end. It's not a final. Okay, nave.
That is a vav at the end
Gonev.
because you can see
Okay.
it lines up. It doesn't really sink below the bottom.
Okay.
All of the final letters, with the exception of the mem, all the other final letters sink below the bottom.
Well, I thought of something for that M, but it's circle, mamwich, but it's like a sandwich, mamwich. I don't know if you remember.
Square bread and a man
It's square
or
bread,
really tall.
mamwich.
There's the top slice and there's the manwich meat
The
in the middle,
manwich.
and that's the
I've never had mamwich, but I thought about that.
It's like a sloppy Joe, right?
Right, it's round, but it's a
Oh.
mem.
I don't know. All right, Mirtha, you've got line 3.
Okay. Yahat,
Good.
Yoset, Horu,
Take a
Hodu,
close look at that third letter.
Hodu,
Hodu. Good.
Hamon, Yabat, Yabat.
Notice the curve.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yakat.
Close. There's no cough
Yeah.
drop.
Yahat.
Yachad. Good.
Yahat. And then is Hasek.
I see the same vowel twice.
Ha. Hasek. No. It's a ha, like Hanukkah.
It is definitely a chet and an ah. We've got cha.
Ha.
I see the
Sa.
same vowel again. Cha
Sa.
on the end.
Okay, and the last one is a K. Hasak.
There you go. Chazak.
Hasak.
This is a good word to know. Chazak means strength, as in spiritual strength. Every time we finish a book of the Torah, so 4 times a year, we say Chazak, Chazak, Venit Chazek. Be strong, and let us strengthen each
Chazak.
other. Chazak.
Okay.
It's a good word
Chazak.
to know.
Mhm. Hasak.
Good.
Okay.
And which
What a-
two sounded the same?
The same had. Okay, the first one, Yahat, and
Yachad
Yahat and Yahat.
and
It's
Yachad.
the one before the last one.
There we go. We've got Yachad and Yachad. Excellent. And I think we're back to Jackie on line 4.
Okay, so it's Erev,
Good.
Sava,
I think you said Sava, which is right.
okay, yes, I did. It wasn't the French Sava, it's Hebrew Sava. Sava with a sa. Sarah, Erev, Eitzel,
Good.
and Ose.
Excellent.
Okay.
And which two sound the same?
The first one, Erev, and the fourth one.
Very good. Don't worry, Chris, we've got more. Line 5, same thing. Tell me the two that sound alike.
Okay, so let's see, we've got Ratzon, Dorot,
Good.
Derech,
Good.
Dorot, and Rasha,
Good.
and Shem. So we've got, let's see, the second one and the fourth one.
Good. Dorot means generations. When it's spelled like this. When it's spelled like this, I don't think it means anything. I think it's a nonsense word. Dorot is generations. All right. And Myrta, we're back to you on line 6.
Okay. Safer. Shara. No, Sarah. Sarah.
Good.
Samar. Shamar. Shamar.
Shamar. Good.
And Sama.
This looks like a chuppah at the end here.
Samach. Samach.
Samach. Good.
Safer.
Good.
And then, okay, safer is the first one and the last one.
Good. Sefer. Sefer.
Mhm.
Sefer, written like this, is a scroll or a book, like a Sefer Torah.
Safer. Torah.
All right,
Okay.
line 7. Ingrid, that's you.
Seven. That is a eighth.
Good.
Eight seam.
Yes.
Eight seam. And yom. And yamim.
Yes.
Eight seam. Yait. Or eight. Do I pronounce the eight?
8.
Eight.
Yeah.
So
Ah.
let's see. Which one sound the same? Is it the second one and the second to the last?
There you go. Eitzim
Eight
and eitzim.
Mhm.
Eitzim means trees. Very appropriate for this week when we're celebrating Tu B'Shvat, the birthday of the trees. Eitzim. When it's spelled like this. What this I think is sort of like before. I think it's just not a word. If it is, I've never seen it. All right, and Jackie, you've got line 8.
Okay. Tovim,
Good.
kol, kolech,
Good.
lachem,
Good.
lachein,
Good.
kol, and ze,
Good. And which two sound the same?
kol and kol.
Excellent. This is one of the only true homophones that I know of in Hebrew. Kol means all when it's spelled like this. Kol means voice.
Boy.
Voice, like when you speak with your voice. Kol.
Cool.
when it's spelled like this. I cannot, off the top of my head, I don't know of many other homophones. Are very rare in Hebrew because of the way the language is structured. But this is one of the true homophones that I know of in modern Hebrew. In ancient Hebrew, by the way, this is an aside, just because you're an advanced group. I can share these little asides and I know you won't get confused.
Mhm.
In ancient Hebrew, we know that all of these different letters did have different sounds. So we know that the kuf was a different sound than the kaf, the kuf. In Arabic, the ku is still a back of further back in the throat, kul, as opposed to kol, 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 and kol.
Okay. Cool.
We also have other examples from Arabic, and some of these are preserved in some Hebrew dialects. We've talked that they're different. If you're in Israel, these two vowels sound the same. We say a in North America. If you're Yemenite, the ayn sounds different from the aleph. Ayn is you can hear is a consonant with a sound. Ayn, I don't know how to describe it. It's like you start to swallow and then you quit. Ayn.
Right.
Also related to the het, and chaf. I don't know how well you can hear over, the tinny little microphone that I have on my laptop, and then over the internet where it's compressed, and then whatever speakers you have on your end. I don't know how well you can hear the difference. But or the tet and the tet and tav. Where's the tav? Tav have a slightly different sound. You'll also see this occasionally. We lost Chris. We'll also see this occasionally in scholarly articles that have English transliteration, where kuf is always the letter Q, kuf, as opposed to kol, which would usually be a K. Tet is usually a T, and tav is like a TH. That's where we get I'm drawing a blank now.
Like Mirta.
Yeah, like Martha. How do we get from Mirta to Martha? Because it's originally a Hebrew word, and it becomes a th.
Mhm.
That's an excellent example. Actually, Jackie, you spell your name with a Q, and Yaakov or Yaakova, which is the Hebrew origin, is spelled with a kuf. So Q makes sense.
Mhm.
You still see elements of these differences preserved in language. But for our purposes, ayin and aleph are silent. Kaf and kuf have the same sound, as well as tet and tav, samech and sin. And in modern Hebrew, all of these letters share the same sound, but at some point in history, they had different sounds. That's why they created different letters when they created the alphabet. All right.
Shame.
I forget whose turn it is. Who hasn't gone?
Me.
Okay, Mirtha, number one.
Okay. Number one. It. Shame. Hamelech. Hagadol. Hagabor.
Take a close look at this vowel.
Hagebor. Hagebor.
I don't see an eh.
Oh, is an E?
I see E, like a button. You push. E,
Hagibor.
E, E.
Hagibor.
Hagibur. Yes, I forgot to mention this section here. This is a new section. These are common prayer book phrases. So
Hagibor. Yeah.
if you come to Jewish services frequently, then you have probably heard some of these phrases or
Yes.
all of them. If you've never been to a Jewish service or rarely attend, rarely have seen a Jewish service, then that doesn't help you pronounce them. But Ingrid, I think you're up next. Line 2. You're muted if you're already reading.
Yeah. Is it Kadosh? Is the accent correct? Kadosh?
Yes, that was
Kadosh.
perfect. Kadosh.
So, and I forget here on this, hey, is that silent at the beginning?
Hey can sometimes be silent at the end, and you'll see that later on. I'll go into more detail there, but the hey is never silent at the beginning or even the middle of it.
Oh, so it's hovu?
Close. I don't see an O vowel.
Oh, that's right. So I'm having difficulties. Is that a vu?
Closer.
V?
The vav can be
Vav?
either a vowel or a consonant, but never both at the same time.
So I can't, isn't that an
So
oo?
when you look at a
Ooh.
word like this, the first thing to think of is, okay, what is this vav in the middle doing? Is it a consonant or a vowel?
So it's just ooh?
Just ooh.
Oh, that was tricky.
Mm-hmm.
Why would they do just a vowel? Oh, it's just vowels. Ooh,
So the
okay.
whole word
The whole word, 3 letters for one sound.
becomes who.
Oh, it's, so you do pronounce the, oh,
The hey, yes,
oh, right.
but not the vav.
Who?
Who.
Okay,
Mhm.
very good. So
Who means he.
who?
That's a fun game to play with little kids that are learning Hebrew for the first time. You say, who means he means she. No, me is who is he, and he is she.
Oh my.
Mm.
Hulam,
Good.
Shamaim.
Im.
Shamaim.
Good. And in this case, is the yud a consonant or a vowel?
Oh, so it's Shamayim.
Yes. The
Shamayim.
yud has to be a consonant because it has its
That's right.
own vowel.
All right, I didn't pronounce it the first time, so it's Shamayim.
Good. And in this case, there's no way that you would know it, but it's shamayim. The accent is
Shamayim.
on the mem.
Oh, Shamayim.
There's no way you would know it because it's not marked. Shamayim means heaven, a lovely word,
Mhm.
or heavens.
And Se.
Good. Ze. So here you do have a silent
Ze.
hey.
Ze.
And you know that it's silent in two ways. Number one, it's at the end of a word and there's no vowel. If there's a hey at the end of the word and it does not have its own vowel, it's generally silent. I cannot think of an example where that's an exception.
Mhm.
Second, if you try to pronounce it, you sort of can't. Zeh, zeh, zeh.
Mhm. Yeah.
It just still sounds like zeh, but you're out of
Zeh.
breath.
Mhm.
So even if you try to pronounce it, it doesn't work very well. That's how you know that's silent.
Mhm.
That'll help you with the last word.
It's silent. Okay. Well, mitze, but that dot in the middle.
Good. Mizeh. Yeah.
Mitze.
What is it? Remember, it's not a tsadi, it's a zain. It's got a
Oh, it's a
zigzag.
sign. Right, right.
Zeh and mizeh.
Mize. Mize.
Yeah. What is that dot doing there?
Mhm.
What
I
is
don't
that
know.
dot doing there? What
Nothing.
about that dot over there?
Nothing.
Nothing. Why is it there? I don't know. I do know, but these are obscure grammatical
this lesson.
reasons. Okay, here's a fun one. Just this once, I'll tell you why the dagesh is there. It's called a dagesh.
Mhm.
Just this once, I'll tell you why it's there, because this one is an easy, oops, it's trying to run away, trying to escape. I won't let it. This one is an easy and a fun explanation for those of you who are interested in language, which I'm guessing is why you're taking the class. The word ze means this, or that, this one or that one. Ze mi ze means between this one and this one. And me, when you see me at the beginning of a word, which means, from, I don't see another example on this page. It's a prefix. You have a couple of words in Hebrew that are prefixes. Ha means the, Hagadol, the great, Hagibur, the mighty, Hamelech, the king. You have u or v, which means and. And one of the prefixes you have that is its own word or its own lemma, if you want to be very technical. It's not in English, it's a whole word, but it becomes a prefix in Hebrew. Mem means from or of. And in this case, ze mi ze means from this to this, or ze mi ze, between this and this. Between this and that, we would say.
That's what it means.
That's ze mi ze.
Between.
Ze mi ze is like between this and this.
Okay.
If the full phrase would be like bein ze mi ze, would be between this one and this one.
And say alone.
The me there's actually a word which is mean. If we had a mem and a nun by itself, if we said ze mean ze, we add a final nun because it's the end of the word, then it has the same meaning. So really, this is like a conjunction. In English, or a contraction rather. In English, when we have a contraction, we use an apostrophe. That dagesh is sort of like an apostrophe. That's all that's left of the nun from min ze. In I don't know what's earlier than ancient in primordial Hebrew. You had min ze, which became mizeh. So that dagesh there was originally part of another word, and that's the only part that's remaining. Okay, so like I said, just this once. That's the only time you get a free explanation for why there's a dagesh in the word. Maybe one other time, but we'll see how it goes. Line 3, I don't know if it's Chris or Jackie.
Yes, I'll do
I had to
it.
restart my computer. It was freezing up.
Okay,
Okay, so line 3, you said?
line 3.
Okay. Barach.
Baruch.
Oh, yes, Baruch. Thank you. Thank you. Melech.
Good. And this is one of those words, when you have the accent moves to the beginning. The accent is almost always at the end of the word. Baruch, kadosh, kulam. Bad example. Mizeh. But occasionally you get a word like shamayim, where there really isn't, well, there is a rule, but there isn't an easy rule. Or melech, where there is an easy rule. Whenever you have that's one of the rules. When you have you always move to the beginning.
Okay.
Melech.
Melech. Okay. Next one was kind of tricky for me.
Okay.
Is it haols? We're missing something there.
This one is not a circle.
Oh, okay. Haol.
All I'm missing is this vowel right there. Otherwise, it's perfect.
Oh, I'm missing. Okay. Ha. Oh. That's a verb.
Ha-o.
Okay, no.
This vowel right here. Can you see my cursor on the screen?
Yeah, that's, oh, yes.
Okay.
I see it now. Yes. Haol, haola, yes. Haola, and then haolam. It's haolam?
Good. Ha-olam.
Uh-huh. Yes, I was missing that vowel. Okay.
Ha-olam is it's a wonderful word. Olam is the universe, the eternity, the infinity. Ha-olam generally means the world or the universe.
Okay. Next one is it Yotzer,
Good. Yotzer.
and the last one is Or.
Good. Yotzer or, God who creates light, or creator of light. Yotzer or is light. All right. Chris, do you want to try line 4?
I got back then, so let me give it a try.
Good.
We're just doing weird things. It keeps freezing up on me stuff. It freezes up. Sorry.
Yeah, Zoom I don't know if they rolled out an update. People have told me no, but a lot of folks have had trouble with Zoom these past like 2 weeks, that troubles that we never had before. So I think that they did something with the software.
Probably, yeah.
Anyway, Chris, go for it. If we lose you, we lose you.
Okay, so we've got Uvor. Oh no, Uvore.
Good.
We've got Hashef.
Good. This is a tricky one. Where's the vowel for the chet?
There's
Got to have a vowel.
yeah, it's yeah, so it's Hoshet. Oh no, is it? Oh no, because is that the dot for the sheen, or is that an
It's double duty. Double duty. It's an O and it's the dot for the shin.
Oh, okay.
That's why it's a tricky one. Yes.
So it's Hoshet.
Good. And this is another, even though it doesn't look like it's the same type. It's choshech.
Hoshe.
Good.
Okay, and we've got Ose,
Good.
and then Shalom,
Excellent.
and then Uvore.
Good.
No, not Uvore, Uvore. Okay.
Hello?
Chris, keep
No.
reading. I feel like you started a sentence and they, for whatever reason, they continued it on the second line.
Okay. Et hakol hameir. No, yeah, hameir
Good.
laaretz alecha.
Excellent. All right. Myrtha, or is it
Yes.
Myrtha or Jackie is up next?
Me. Line 6.
Line 6.
Okay. Amo. Tamid. O tamid. Tamid.
Tamid.
What? Tamid.
Mhm.
Hadash.
Good.
Al. Sion. Haid. Haid. Ir. Hair.
Good.
Hair.
Alcion Tayir. Light will shine on Zion.
Oh, okay. Hair.
Chadash means new. A new light will shine
Hadash.
on
Okay.
Zion. All right.
Okay.
Jackie, line 7.
Okay.
Actually, I'm going to have you do 7 and 8
Oh,
because they go together. They go together.
okay, okay. Okay. 7 is Bahar. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Bahar.
I'll stop you. I'll stop you
Okay.
if there's a mistake.
Okay. Bano.
Good. In this case, it's Banu.
Banu. Oh, yes. Oh, I keep making that mistake. So it's Bahar, Banu, Mikal. No.
It's we haven't had this rule yet.
Oh,
That was not very nice of them to put this in here. It's actually Mikol.
Mikol. Okay.
We haven't, yeah. This vowel sometimes makes an O sound, but we haven't learned that yet. So they shouldn't have put that here.
Okay.
So you'll just, for now, you'll just take my word for it. Mikol.
Mikol. Hamim.
Ha'amim. Good.
Natan.
Good.
And next one. Lano.
Close.
Oh, Lanu. I keep making
Good.
a mistake.
And in this case,
Lanu.
it's Lanu.
Lanu et. Torah. Why is there a dot in the first T and no dot in the other one? Does it matter?
Yeah. Why is there a dot in one and not the other? I don't know. No, there's I shouldn't say there's no reason. There's no reason. It doesn't matter to us.
Oh, okay. Okay.
If,
Torato.
good. If we were in an Ashkenazi Yiddish speaking community, This would be Torah so,
Okay.
because the tav and the sav would have a different sound in that dialect. But for our purposes, they are identical. Torah to,
Okay. Notain
good.
and sorry, I have to write them to okay, so it's ha ha to hatorah.
Good. Now I know that you're ready for your first aliyah. I can call you up to the Torah because you just said the blessing. That's the
Okay.
blessing after the Torah reading.
Oh, perfect.
Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Great.
Does it sound a little bit familiar?
Yes.
Good. All right, Ingrid.
9. Neir. Shell. Shakat.
Close. It's a little bit hard to see, but this is
Is that
not
a B?
curved. It has
Oh,
a
that's a
base.
B. Oh, it's a
It's a little.
Shabbat.
It's a little bit hard to
and
see. in this.
Shabbat. That's a simple word.
That's
Sorry.
Shabbat.
Shabbat. Sorry.
Yeah.
Ano.
Close. Look at that vowel at the end.
Oh, anu. And Shira.
Good.
And Rabba.
Excellent. Myrta, line 10. Your order has all changed, so I don't know who I'm calling on when.
Okay. Mi hamocha bakodesh Oshe
Close. Take a look at that second
Oh.
letter.
Ose.
Good. Because a
Ose.
sin is never right.
Okay. Ose. Felix.
Good. Read these first two words again.
Mi hamocha
Close. Take a look at this letter right here.
ha.
Mi kamocha.
Okay. Tua.
This has a cough drop.
Hamocha.
Ka, kamocha. Ka.
Kamocha.
There it is.
Okay.
Mi
kamocha.
kamocha. If you ever pray the famous prayer, mi chamocha,
Yeah.
you'll notice that
Right.
the second line is not mi. The first line is mi chamocha. The second line is mi kamocha with a
Oh.
ka.
Okay. Hamocha. Ha. Like
There's a
Hanukkah.
beautiful midrash, a beautiful story related to this. That as the Israelites were escaping Egypt and walking into the sea to escape Pharaoh, that God only parted the waters when the first one had enough faith to walk into the water up to his chin. So as they were singing Michamocha, the first line was Michamocha, and by the time they got to the second one, Mikamocha, the water was getting into their mouths. The waves were splashing against their faces. So there's sort of coughing and spitting.
Hamocha. Okay.
So this one is kamocha.
Kamocha.
Line 11. Who didn't go for a while? Jackie.
I was working on line 12.
You're doing okay, Chris, line 11.
Yeah, Chris, do line 11.
We got, okay. Kakatu, al, yad,
Good.
nipenu, lo, yamush.
Excellent. And Jackie, line 12.
Okay. Beini,
Good.
Avit, he.
No.
No. Wait a minute. Oh yeah, no. Where did I come with the ah with? Okay, so it's gonna be ot.
You got it.
Okay, I don't know where I came up with that.
Oat.
Okay. Ot.
Because you wanted the vav to be a consonant.
Yes.
Sometimes a vav is just a vowel. Even
Yeah.
with a silent letter, sometimes it's just a vowel. Oat. Good. Keep going.
He.
Good.
Shaishet. And Yamis.
This does not look like a circle to me at the end.
Oh,
It looks like a manwich.
oh yes, Yamim.
Good. I don't know if it really looks like a manwich, but we're not going to forget it now, are we? All right. And Ingrid, why don't you read some famous words from our tradition? Ingrid, you're muted. I think you just said Baruch.
Yeah, Baruch, I did. Baruch.
Good.
Did you want me to continue or?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh. So I'm going to, let's see.
You can go across or down. That's up to you.
Across. All right. So it's is that Cain? Oh, Ken.
Yes.
Isn't Ken? Yes.
Correct. Ken.
Ken.
Cain.
Oh, okay, Cain.
It's the same.
And then big is Gadol.
Excellent.
King is Melech. Melech.
And do you remember the word, the rule about
Melech.
Good. Melech.
Melech.
That'll come in handy with the next word.
On tree or vine? Oh, the vine. Okay, it's Gifen. Gifen? No, it's Geffen. Geffen.
Geffen.
Geffen.
Exactly. Melech. Geffen.
Melech. Geffen.
For some reason, at least Ashkenazi Jews say gafen when we say borei peri hagafen, the fruit of the vine. But the original word is geffen.
Geffen.
Keep
Did you
going.
want to continue? Okay. It's 8.
Perfect.
Wine. I should learn how to say that. I do like that word. Let's see. It is that's a yod. So yain.
Good. Yain.
All right. And see. Wow. Oh, Zion. Is it just Zion? I'm reading the word, but Zion.
Good. Sion. Exactly. The yud has one of those pesky dots in it. It's not really doing anything there.
Okay.
Doesn't change the word. Sion.
Sion.
You got it. That's where the word Zion comes from.
Mhm.
Zion is a lot of the words that you have heard from the Bible are really just bad transliterations of Hebrew.
Mount Zion is in Jerusalem. That is
Yes.
right. It is the
Har
temple, where the temple is.
Sion.
Mhm.
Exactly. That's it for this evening.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you next week.
Good evening.
Can I ask you one question real quick?
Yes, yeah, always.
Oh.
If you have the book on page 29, we were reviewing it before class. If you have the book with you.
On which page?
Page 29,
On page 29.
lesson 4. There's some practice
Which line?
line 10. So
Okay.
so what's confusing me is with the double yod there. So it's the yay. Would that be correct? The yay?
Yes. So the trick with the double yud, okay, let me show, if you don't have the book, here's what he's talking about.
Okay.
So the first yud, does it have a vowel?
Right, it's got the sere.
The first rule, the rule is the first yud, sorry, I'm moving around here. The first yud has a vowel, so it has to be a consonant. So be yav.
Right.
The second yud does not have a vowel, so it's silent, doesn't have any sound.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, that
It
was
becomes
just
part of the vowel.
okay.
So
That was
it's-
just kind of throwing me off.
So viyev, biyev, vayev,
Yeah.
viyev,
Vayi.
vayi. You'll see. On occasion, you will see you'll see the rabbi remember what he's going to say on occasion. On occasion, you will see Hebrew written without vowels. You'll see double yuds. That's to let you know that there's a yud that's a consonant.
Okay.
Occasionally, you'll see double vav, which are really only in Hebrew loan words. But that's a double vav makes usually a vo, or in Hebrew, or occasionally it can be a W sound.
Oh, okay.
So like if you were trying to write out, Wyatt
Mhm.
in Hebrew, you would use two vavs to make
Vav.
the Wyatt. Probably two vavs and two yuds.
Yeah.
Vav vav yud yud tav. That's probably how I would spell it. Something like that. Wyatt.
Cool.
All right. We'll
All
see
right,
you next
thanks.
week.
Good night, Rabbi. Thank
night.
you.
Good night. Thank you so much.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.